Hey, everybody, welcome back to It's Time. Lindsley and I are so excited to talk to you today about something that we've probably all struggled with at certain points in our life, something that I think often matures with age,
Yes.
and probably something that we never master fully in every realm of our life. And so, what we're going to talk about today is confidence and what it means to be confident, the science behind confidence, and really the takeaways are some ideas and strategies to become more confident in throughout all areas of our lives.
Well, yeah, and I think this is so relevant to our audience, our community of midlife women on two vectors. One is on a lot of ways, getting to midlife, you actually get more confident, right? You're like, I don't really care what anybody thinks. I'm stepping into my own world and this is what I'm doing. And part of that also might be that you're exploring new things. You maybe have a new definition around purpose, or maybe you're an empty nester and you're trying to figure out how to go back to work. Do you go back to work? Building your own confidence in that arena makes sense and seems kind of palatable. But I think also the idea of helping our younger women, whether again, if we're parenting or coaching or they're on our teams, understand that confidence is A, super beneficial to have, and not just for the obvious charismatic reasons, but the outcome driven reasons.
Mhm.
And B, another one of those things that is like a muscle, and there is science behind how to build it. And I feel like there's so many of these that we're uncovering and feel really grateful that our generation gets to know this, is that you can choose that you want to increase your confidence, and then you can follow a set of practices that are science-backed, data-driven ways to do that. And it's worth your time.
Right. And I think along with that is, I think for so many women struggling with confidence being perceived as arrogance in multiple settings. And
Uh-huh.
I think that that is, I can tell you from the healthcare setting, that's a huge problem. And it's very well documented and well studied that an assertive, confident female in medicine is some derogatory labels. We'll just leave it
Everywhere.
at that associated
Everywhere.
with it.
Rhymes with which. Yeah, it's
Compared
like a lot.
to, yeah, compared to the same adjectives that are used to
Yes.
describe a man that has the exact same set of characteristics.
Yes.
So I think that's another interesting thing to navigate, especially through midlife when you're exactly right with some of our hormonal changes. It affects our brain chemistry. It's that whole Instagram phenomenon of the we do not care club, right?
No, I love that
It's
lady so
we
much.
just,
Yeah, I
and
do.
it's so freeing in some ways. And that is
Yeah.
definitely a form of confidence that it's biologically driven even.
Yeah. And I think that it's a critical thing you raise around the idea that sometimes the word confidence isn't one that we are out loud supposed to embrace.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing in the business world as it is in the medical world.
Yeah.
The aggressive, internally trust driven female gets a lot of other kind of commentary. So
Yeah.
so maybe step one is an invitation to embrace the fact that you're building confidence and that you
Right.
are confident and that you can say that out loud, that's
Right.
important. And then, similar to the happiness research that we've shared in other conversations, it is in your best interest to build confidence because it does drive better health results, longevity results, financial results, relationship results. All of that study base has already happened that says, yeah, it actually does connect to people who are living all of the things that we might define as a more thriving oriented life. So it's worth building the muscle set, and it's your birthright to own it.
Right. I love it. Well, let's dive into the neurobiology of confidence. So
Yes.
we talk about the science behind confidence and even some of the neurochemicals behind confidence. Where does confidence and where does confidence start in our brains?
Well, you, Dr. Jen, are our brain doctor, so you got to break it down to the four areas. I mean, I can
Okay.
tell you what you told me.
All right. So good, touche. So we're going to go back to some of these brain areas. And I know we've been talking about the brain a lot recently, but going back to that prefrontal cortex or our higher thinking parts of our brain that really evaluates our self-efficacy and our decision-making capability. And
Right.
so confidence is rooted there because that's often where we practice confidence is on our decision-making, how we show up. All of those things are a reflection of our confidence levels. And again, this is going to connect to that other brain area we spend a lot of time talking about, which is our amygdala, which is
Right.
very prehistoric, very primitive. It keeps us alive.
Right.
And so we have to balance those two areas of our brain, and it's imperative that they're very well connected. And they work together in our neurobiology of confidence, driven by our friendly neurotransmitters who we talk about a lot, dopamine, which is our reward system, right? We do something well, we get a dopamine reward. So we want to go do this, do that again. Guess what? That's building that confidence pathway. That's strengthening that tool. And same with our oxytocin, that when we, again, that's our bonding hormone, our bonding neurochemical, that when we have done something that bonds us to somebody else and we get that release, it reinforces that and builds our confidence in those settings.
Yes, so it's that prefrontal cortex and the amygdala again and again. That
Yes.
top-down brain, which we talked about in a couple of our other conversations. One of the things that was interesting as we started to dive into this piece is this idea about dopamine as both a reward neurochemical, but also an expectation neurochemical. So some of the things about we're going to talk about how to build it, and some of the practices are around helping generate dopamine in the expectation of a good outcome, which
Yes.
the new way to understand a nuance, I guess, to understand the dopamine impact in this.
Right. Well, take us through, you are so deep in these different bodies of research. So take us through some of the work that other people have done in these areas about confidence and how we connect these brain areas to the actual feeling
Yep.
and emotion.
Well, yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the research, and we'll link to it as we always do in our show notes, but it comes down into the why around the science that builds confidence, and then the reason for engaging is it breaks out the how. Like, what are the practices that tie into that? And what was interesting, I think, as we start to look at this, you and I have been around since 1977, but I don't think
Yeah.
this was like a common understood research body, and it's one of the foundational pieces of research that other researchers have built upon, and it's called Bandura's self-efficacy theory. It's basically research showing that what you believe, kind of like expectation theory, what you believe to be true about you is the number one driver of the success outcome you have and the motivation you have to go after it. So this research is very broad and gets into a different set of contexts around how do people connect to their I'm going to do well kind of simple expectation set and that actual outcome. And so the pivotal lever is the underlying belief that you can do it. And it's not
Got
a
it.
hubris, it's just an underlying belief that you can do it and you will do it. And then that actually drives all the practices and all the practical things we would say, the behaviors to get you there. But if you're doing those same sets of behaviors and you have this underlying nagging feeling that it's not me, I can't do it, then you don't get there. So you might do the
Right.
same sets of behavior, but you just don't get there. So that's a big body of research that started this confidence theory and idea around Bandura's self-efficacy theory. And then the other two are a little, I think, more commonly known because we've heard so much about the work that Dr. Dweck does, Carolyn Dweck, around growth mindset and having a growth
Mhm.
mindset, especially in the school context. We hear about that
Mhm.
idea of language. I don't know how to do it yet. I know I can do it. And that's one of the pillars that she's made really mainstream, is this idea that the way you language and the way you talk to yourself, and the belief that you're always in a beginner's mindset and that failure is simply a component of success. All of that dialogue is really coming out of this growth mindset research that she
Mhm.
published almost 20 years ago. I feel like we're
Right.
hearing about it a lot now, like it was like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was like
Right.
20 years ago,
I know it's crazy.
which is a reminder that like sometimes it takes a while for things to take hold. um,
Yeah.
and then the last one, I think
Repetition.
this one is fun for us because we talk about this in our movement world about power poses and things like that. Is
Mhm.
it's embodiment studies, and this is the idea that sometimes I think has been kind of misinterpreted as toxic positivity or fake it till you make it in a negative way. But it's this idea that your body signals help your mind understand what it is you want to do. So when you
Mhm.
take a power pose, it's telling your mind, I'm confident, I know what I'm doing. Or
Mhm.
if you smile, it's letting your brain know it's okay to be happy. It's okay to find joy. So it's always a fine line between like shoving down your emotions and faking it versus I'm going to embody this and that will help signal to my brain that I'm confident in doing it.
Yeah. And I think that's another area where I think we can really look at what society has told us as women is appropriate, right? Like
Right.
when you watch behavior around a crowded table, it is often women making themselves smaller to accommodate others. And you don't necessarily see that behavior from men. And not that that's a good or bad or wrong or right. That I don't want to assign a label to that, but we don't often take up the space that
Mhm.
we are invited to take up.
Right.
And so I think that, it's even funny. It's, I have soccer player children.
Right.
They say I'm sorry on the field all the time. It makes my head want to
Yes.
explode. I'm like, why are you
Yes.
sorry? Who are you apologizing to and why? And
Yeah.
so,
I don't
like,
know where that
trying
comes
to
in.
break those
Yeah.
habits, because it all relates back to confidence. Like, take your space. And that doesn't mean you're impolite and don't make room for another, but that doesn't mean you have to diminish your size or your stance or your
Yeah.
presence.
Yep. Yes.
So
That's so
I
true.
think that's
So true.
another interesting,
Yeah, and I think
interesting.
there are a couple of things that were in this research that I kind of reflected, and I know you felt this too in your work context, is the way, the way men will sit at a table is they will straddle, they'll be down on
Mhm,
elbows on their knees and they'll take
mhm,
up all that space, or they'll be back like this, like I've got this, I'm in control.
mhm.
And women rarely do that. And so just the comfort level with getting into a position that subconsciously people read as power position. And then when you're feeling, a little bit unsure, standing like a Wonder Woman position is a legitimate way to drive a sense of confidence through your cell structure and through it,
Yeah.
wire back to your brain. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm confident here.
Mhm, mhm. Exactly. And I think, and I know we're going to talk about this more, but those nonverbal cues are so important, right? And that,
Yeah.
I mean, we see it all the time in others, but I think it's hard sometimes to reflect in what we're doing ourselves. Like, am I standing up straight? What is my presence in this room? And there are so many nonverbal cues of confidence that really you feel it. It's
Yeah.
almost a feeling that radiates off a confident person that is contagious almost. Let's dive into, we want to try to keep this as tactical and implementable as possible. So let's dive
Yes.
into these 7 strategies and tools we can use to increase our confidence and work on this.
Yes. So, I think one of the kind of most obvious, but also people would feel sort of like, oh, this is silly to do, but it is really your brain reads experiences as reality. So, the first idea and practice set is coming around a set of activities that you could put in the bucket of, I'm going to master competence. I'm going to master experience. I'm going to show myself that I can be a master of something, that I have mastery in me. In the design your life work that we do in mindset work, the example of this is so great is called set the bar low and clear it. Like don't make a
Right.
super huge goal, like set a low one and just clear it and just let your body and your brain know that you are able to meet goals and surpass them. So the reason
Absolutely.
being that it teaches yourself, your brain and your subconscious self that you are able to master things and you can track your progress. You can revisit those past achievements. So you tell yourself the story that you are a successful person and that builds your confidence. And then one of the researchers we talk about a lot is Dr. Samantha Boardman. She's got great work around this. And she also kind of underscores this by saying, start before you're ready. Like just start whatever you want to master. It could be something like cooking or something like weightlifting or something as lightweight as like, I just want to be a gardener. And then just start it before you're ready and start building your expertise in that arena.
And if we think about this in really simple terms, we do this for other people all the time, right? You don't take your toddler who's never been skiing and take them down a double black diamond
Right.
run, right? You start
Right.
on the magic carpet. And so
Right.
there's a progression and they get more confident and et cetera. And
For sure.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes as adults, we forget that we need to start at the beginning. And so I love just that really simple takeaway of set the bar low and clear it,
Yes. Yes. So that's number one.
especially when trying something new.
Yeah. So just,
Perfect.
so that does require explicitly creating experiences that you're going to build expertise in. So you got to be like, all right, let's pick something. And then number two, tell us about number two.
So reframing the way we talk to ourselves. I can't do this yet, or I am
Yeah.
learning to do this.
Yeah.
I'm challenging myself to do this. Like just reframing the way we talk to each other and not, I can't, I don't, I won't, but I'm learning and it opens up that growth mindset. I think the other thing that it does, which I think is really interesting, is we have to start to learn to put language around some of our internal feelings when it comes to this. And I know I talk about this a lot with my daughter, who happens to be an individual sport athlete, where I think
Mm.
having never been an individual sport athlete, there's a different set of pressures there. And I
Yes,
know
we
you
talk
have
about this.
you have kids
Yes,
that
with
are
our golfer
individual
and our
sport
horseback
athletes as
rider.
well.
Yes, it's different. It's really
And
different.
And so when you have those sensations of being very nervous or
Mhm.
feeling overwhelmed, it is the same chemical reaction inside your body as when you're really excited about something.
Yeah.
And so we talk about a lot about that, that learning to put a name on that sensation and using the words, not I'm scared, I'm overwhelmed, but using the words, I'm excited. I
Yes.
know what this feeling is. That is good. If you're about to go in to give a talk or run a race or compete in a golf tournament, you don't want to be like energy, not prepared, not excited, but you don't want the pendulum too far the other way, which sometimes happens and we're over aroused, right? It's that
Yeah.
arousal curve that we talk a lot about. And so just reframing that this is how I feel when I'm excited and ready to go.
Mhm. I love
And
that. Yeah, I love that, and I love that explanation to anyone in our lives is that it is the same neurochemistry, right?
right.
It's that's fine, you know? And there was an interesting study done on this where they actually kind of broke people into 2 groups, and they took people everybody's nervous before they're gonna do whatever it was. I think
Yeah.
they gave them all, like, a 20-minute presentation they had to prepare, and it was like half the group said to themselves, "Calm down, breathe, calm down, just settle down," and then half said, "I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited." Then no surprise after we've talked about this, but it was surprising at the time of the research is it's the I'm excited group that actually does well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't, like,
Absolutely.
suppress it and calm yourself down, you reframe it.
Right. And this one I love. And this is something that I continue to work on a daily basis. And I can tell you, it- I have deleted this phrase 4 times in emails today. I'm
Yes,
not kidding. 4 times in emails today is
right.
I think.
Yes, yes.
So again, these little language things, whether we're using it for self talk or expressing it to others, when we start to discredit our contributions, it erodes our confidence.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah,
and it's how people even perceive us. And again, I think it all ties back, at least for me, to that I don't want to come across as arrogant or out of my lane or this or that. So I will use this phrase in front of one of my ideas to not seem, you name the adjective, bossy,
right.
et cetera, et cetera. All of those different terms that often get attached to more direct language, but we need to stop discrediting what we're doing with the I thinks or I just or all of those little phrases that immediately lower the confidence of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes, and it is really sneaky, you don't realize it, so I think it's Dr. Boardman did a bunch of the research on this and she was like, "Of course you think it, you're saying it, like, you don't
Right.
need to say, 'I think it,' that just dilutes it."
Right.
Love that.
Perfect. Okay. So what's number three?
Well, and this is one that we've had a lot of conversations about with manifestation or expectation theory or affirmations. It's this idea of the mental rehearsal. So, doing the visualization work with intention around, okay, I want to see the specific success. And when you do this, like, it feels so awkward, and I know we always give the athlete examples, and they have lots of experience in this arena, but it's also just like before you give a presentation, you wanna visualize not only the words you're saying, but the outcome of the presentation. Or when I would go in and pitch money, I would visualize that they were actually writing the check. And so that
Yeah.
this check has been in my bank account now. And so it's like this really kind of goofy thing that to go all the way through, what does success look like? How will I know I achieved that thing, and then visualize that as well as all the steps in between. So even just 2 to 5 minutes of just visualizing who you wanna be in a
Right.
year, a
Right.
week, whatever the timeline is that's credible to you, and then trying to get into beyond what do I see in my head to what do I smell? What does this feel like? What am I listening to when I'm hitting this goal, this deliverable that makes me feel confident about my ability in this trajectory?
Yeah. And I think there's so many great examples of this right now.
Mhm.
I just said, I think. See,
Yeah.
trying to break
Right.
these bad habits, right?
That's right.
And
We're
so
gonna catch ourselves. Yeah.
looking at examples, a person that does this consistently publicly is Michaela Schifrin, right? One of the most decorated US skiers of all time, maybe the most decorated US skier of all time. And I love that the media shows her pre race. And it's almost like you can hear the music in her head, and her whole body is moving with her eyes closed as she is visualizing herself skiing this course. And it's such a powerful image every time I see it that I was like, if the best in the world is doing this every single time,
Yeah.
That's a powerful message, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And taking that whole body approach, I literally wonder, I'm like, I wonder what she's listening to, because
Uh-huh.
it almost looks like she's just dancing
Yeah.
and that there's music playing and all of her senses are engaged in that practice.
Yeah. It reminds me because one of the studies that was under this, the science is like mirror neurons. And so mirror
Yes.
neurons simulate the real experience and they strengthen all these pathways for success. But one of the most stunning studies to me was, and I'm forgetting the name of the Olympic athlete, but it's the riflery example.
Yes.
The
Yes.
guy who for a year had no rifle and
Right.
visualized himself for 4
Right.
hours a night with, like, nothing, and then got the gold medal in it. So it's like your brain does something in that process, right? Like, it's
Exactly.
practicing even though your hands aren't holding a rifle. He was feeling everything that it would feel like
Right.
when he did hold the rifle. Stunning.
Fascinating. Okay. Well,
Alright,
this
number
takes
4.
us right into number 4.
Yes. Well, so we talked a little bit about this in kind of the body movement and behavioral studies, but basically we always know that our brain is influencing our body, but our body influences our brain too. It's bidirectional. So the idea of doing power poses is letting your body signal to your brain that you're in a confident position of strength. And that's, it's kind of the superwoman pow, like just hands on hips, like just stand there. And of course, that's going to feel goofy going into any kind of public arena and just standing there like that. So you may have to do it in the bathroom, or you may have to do it coming out of your house, or something that just is telling your body, I am confident. And then the other kind of movement that we always talk about, movement is medicine, all of that counts in the confidence building arena because you're building strength and your body feels that strength. And it's the skeletal muscles that hold your posture, it's the opening of your heart. That is all signaling confidence. And then kind of a last one to really just be mindful of is eye contact. Eye contact signals confidence.
Yes.
So this has been studied in the successful arenas, like in a meeting context or when you're trying to deliver a speech. It's clear eye contact matters, but it's also been studied in a defensive mechanism. So when people who don't get attacked, when they've gone in and interviewed the attackers, one of the key reasons why they didn't attack one person versus another was that person made eye contact, looked at them, walked confidently, and that was enough to deter the attacker. So holding
Interesting.
yourself comfortably enough to look someone in the eye, and we always tell our kids that, shake hands, look in the eye. That is
Right.
a signal of confidence. So you doing it yourself is a signal of confidence.
Right. So moving on, number 5, incremental risk taking. And I think we've touched on this a little bit, but why we as adults think we should be experts out of the gate at things
Mhm.
is crazy, but we all do it, right?
We
And
do, we
so
do, and we stop
we
doing this
forget,
stuff as we get
yeah,
older
we
because we're not good at
forget
it.
this learning mindset, this growth mindset, this curiosity mindset. And so this comes back to so much work that we've done with performing under pressure and taking these smaller and smaller risks and getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And it all ties together, right? It is using gradual exposure into more uncomfortable situations, circumstances, then reframing those feelings with words like, I am excited, I have done this,
Yes,
this is not new, this feeling is not overwhelming. Being
yes,
able to redefine those because you've had success doing something similar before, you've reshaped your sweaty
yeah,
palms mean or your nervous stomach means, and you've reshaped that with language. But I
yeah,
think that there are ways to do this in designing how you are going to get to the goal and then reverse engineering how high
yeah.
those bars need to be that you can still get over them. So it's a challenge, but you're still going to clear them to move on to the next step, which is eventually your goal.
Yes, and, the body of research behind this that was fascinating to me was, like, again, in 2002, but, we talk about, like, building your bicep. This is actually desensitizing your amygdala, right?
Yeah,
That it's getting your amygdala used to this kind of risk-taking feeling,
right.
so that you're able to kind of build on that momentum, and it's not about you all of a sudden hit the goal, it's that you created momentum toward a goal, so
Yes.
your brain starts to recognize that you're capable and you're confident.
Right. Right. And there's so many creative ways to go about doing this. When I was with the Liminal team, this was one of our biggest immersions and immersive events that we would do with people. We would work all week leading up to uh, doing an event that for a lot of people would have been super, super scary was for me was like facing one of my fears, which was, this kind of middle of the night ocean swim.
Oh yeah.
And it was very much getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, and performing under pressure. But we had practiced little ways all week to get there, whether it
Yeah.
was having to do a silly dance in front of your colleagues that you were maybe embarrassed to do, and
Mhm.
getting just more and more immersed in that. I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable, retraining your amygdala that I survived.
Yeah. Yes.
I've come out of the other side of this, and I'm not as threatened or as intimidated or scared by it the next time because I
Yeah.
know I've survived it. And building your hippocampus, which we haven't really talked about, but that's where we store our memories, and reinforcing in our hippocampus that, oh, I've been here before and I've done this. I'm
I can
okay.
do this. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I'm
can
okay.
do this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's a great kind of thing to think about in the context of working with teams, is kind of slowly building that amygdala desensitization, if I can say the word, so that they get more comfortable with risk. That's a great
Yeah.
practical application.
Yeah.
Let's see. And, I guess the last one related to this, because it could be kind of a how-to, is Dr. Boardman recommends creating a confidence challenge. So if
Yeah.
you're working with yourself or with a child trying to build confidence, say like, let's pick out something that will demonstrate confidence to you. And I think
Mhm.
the example Dr. Boardman talks about is in a work context, but it could be in any context. It could be trying new foods, something. It's just showing your brain that you can do it, which is great.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, this next one, not last one, but this next one is one that I always talk about, and I love it so much, the gratitude and the journaling. And so it's kind of like movement is medicine to me. It's like gratitude journaling can help here too. It's like, helps everywhere. But I think that the specificity around this is to celebrate in your gratitude journal or your gratitude countdown at night, whatever you do, something that you did well. Like get
Mhm.
comfortable saying, I did this well. I had an achievement. And I know we're going to talk about this at a later date, but this training program I'm doing called the Wonder Woman program, it's explicit in the weekly check-in. A whole section that you have to write about is, what are my wins? What did I do well in this week in this program and outside it? Because it is explicitly trying to teach you to celebrate your success, because that's what makes you more comfortable with the fact that you will continue to succeed.
Right, right. And I think the other piece of that for a lot, especially a lot of women, I think writing it down gives you a private way to celebrate those wins
Yeah.
where sometimes we are not as comfortable maybe telling someone else
Yeah.
our success. We
Right. Yeah.
we are bashful about that or feel awkward about sharing success. And so I think that leads in to our last principle,
Yes.
and I know you are this person for me in my life, but
You for me too. Yes.
surrounding yourself with people that boost your confidence.
Yes.
And I think this is twofold. And it's such a genuine connection to people to be around people who you truly know are believing in you for who you are and what you're doing. And it is contagious. Every time you call me and say, you've got this, or I'm so proud of you, or look at what you've done, those are such powerful messages that stay with me for a really long time. And I be that for someone in your life and accept it from someone in your life when they are giving it to you. And I think that's sometimes, again, a hard thing to do, but the poster child for look at what you've accomplished, and take a second to take a deep breath and celebrate that and be proud of that, and how much that creates confidence going on to the next thing when we take that time. But oftentimes we need that community to surround us and help us realize.
Yes. Well, you do that for me all the time. But I think embedded in that too is this other part, because we've used this example before. My father-in-law, who always makes me laugh about this, about pick your drinking partners wisely, because the corollary of that too is surround yourself with people who are doing great things and are confident and are inspirational. And so it's easy for me to call you and tell you about the great things you're doing because you're doing them, right? So it's like I get to surround myself with your energy, and that lifts me up as well. So it's
Right.
both those things. It's sharing confident reinforcers with other people, and curating people in your life that help model where you want to go. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love that as number 7.
Yes. And I think with that, just before we move on, I think the other important thing is and I'm going to stop saying I think, I really am. That's my new goal.
Okay.
Um, really hard. It's
But
almost as bad
it's
as the
baby
like
each
habit.
day, each day. So it's just today you're gonna be like, I noticed it 10 times.
Uh huh.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Of
or
course,
whatever it
because
is. Yeah.
we identified it today, so now
Yes.
I see it everywhere. But
Right.
confidence shows up differently for different people. And there are days where I need that reminder to be verbosely confident, that I need to not have this quiet confidence that a lot of people have. I need to have a more grandiose confidence because maybe I'm public speaking or doing
Yes.
something
Yes.
where I need to be more confident in a public facing,
Yes.
outwardly radiating manner versus sometimes it's just a quiet confidence, which might be more how I'm using my body language, how I'm showing up to be present for someone else, or for myself in an area where I am not needing to be the on person. And so I think pay attention to the people in your life that model those different things and know when to lean on them for what you really need.
hmm I love that example too, because there are times where, especially when you're leading a team and you've done this in your sports arena, you've done it in your corporate arena, you've done it in your medical arena, which is it's important to share confidence in yourself with your team because they're following you, right? Like they don't need anything other than it's not blind braggadocious confidence, but you have the confidence and you need to share it,
Right.
so
Right.
that's important for them to feel comfortable in what they're doing. So you got to do that.
Absolutely. And to even go deeper on that, it is a sign of confidence to ask for others' opinions. They're not mutually exclusive
Right.
that I'm leading. And so to appear confident, I need to be making all of the decisions and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Some of the most confident leaders I've ever been around actually don't say very much. And their true gift is lifting those teammates up around them with that quiet confidence and instilling, like having their confidence almost flow out of them into the people that are sitting at the table to elevate everyone.
Yes.
And so I think that confidence can show up in a lot of different ways. And sometimes the more experience we have, and some of the most confident people I know are often the most, not quiet, but just allow people to explore their own confidence and come to their own decisions without being so descriptive and directive.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, part of this conversation is the invitation for people to embrace building confidence, right? Because
Mhm.
it's the outcomes that are associated with confidence are things we all would appreciate and savor in this high half. If you're going to
Mhm.
live another 50 years, like you want to be healthy, you want to be financially set, you want to have great relationships, you want to, obviously live a long time and be more successful in your endeavors, whatever those are. Confidence is a key factor in that.
Absolutely.
And we would say it's an invitation to explicitly embrace it. Don't
Yes,
be shy about it. You are going to go do that. And then there are
absolutely.
these practical things you can do. And this is what I'm thinking about a lot with our kids right now because they're navigating some tough stuff, which is they need confidence to navigate it. It's like, I hope there's a way to share this with the younger people in our lives that this is a muscle you can build like all the other ones we talk about.
Right, exactly. And it invades every aspect that we've talked about. We want to be physically confident, meaning for some, I can do this Ironman. To others, I can step off this curb and not lose my balance. There's a
Right.
huge spectrum. But if we are not confident that we can go do those things, then we regress and we don't do the things we need to do in our daily life to promote this enhanced health span that we're all striving for.
Yeah. And I think you kind of underscored that, which is confidence is built by doing,
Yes.
not by thinking. Like it's
Yes.
built by doing the things and continuing to do them. You can think the plan out, but you got to do the things.
Yes. So, like so many things, practice is going to improve this.
Yes.
And sometimes it is, or often it is really important to identify that I am practicing this.
Yes.
And our brains sometimes need that label attached to it to really get it implemented. That today I am working on learning Spanish
Yeah.
and I'm improving my confidence because I now know these 6 words and my pronunciation's gotten better. But just whatever it is, that's a silly example. Tag it for yourself
Yeah.
until it becomes more natural because that's how our brains process our repetition and learn. We sometimes just need to kind of tag it and say, confidence building.
Yeah.
Look what I did.
But I
Great.
did.
Check.
Yeah. Yeah. Be like our friend David and be like, I'm patting myself physically on the back. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So,
Awesome.
real quick, let's just run through the too long didn't listen to Lindsley and Dr. Jen babble for the last 45 minutes. Um, Let's hit the high 7 real quick.
Okay. So mastery of experiences. So give yourself the action item of building competence by setting a goal and then slowly master an experience. Demonstrate
Self
yourself.
self-talk reframing.
Yes.
I am excited.
Yes.
Taking out the I thinks. Don't
Yes.
degrade.
Yes. Realizing that there is brain wiring, mirror neurons that are the reason it's important to do number 3, the visualization. Visualize the success and visualize the steps to get you there.
So body language and movement, confident poses, confident posture, confident interactions, eye contact, shaking someone's hand, taking up space, all change our neurochemistry, change the way our hormones are released, and contribute to our feeling confident.
Yes. And the first one was around mastering experiences. Number 5 is related to that, but it's more about like actively taking incremental risks. So desensitizing the amygdala. Yeah, speaking in a meeting, going and introducing yourself, it doesn't have to be jumping out of a plane with a parachute, just incremental risks so that your amygdala gets used to the feeling of risk taking.
Absolutely. And then gratitude and achievement journaling. Pat yourself on the back, write down your accomplishments, close that loop that I showed up, I experienced, I've survived and come out the other side in a positive way. Close that loop for your brain and your mind.
Awesome. And then surrounding yourselves with confidence boosters, people who model it and you aspire to be like Dr. Jen, and then people that reinforce it and let you know you did a good job. And people who are on your team, your champions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody. Cheers to our more confident future,
Yes.
for our power poses, for our taking up our space, and for Jen to stop saying, I think. Big goals. Big goals.
Awesome.
All right. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. If you liked what you heard and you got some tips on how to live better right now and for the long haul, please help us reach more midlife women. Please share and rate and like this show, and we can't wait to continue the dialogue with you on our next episode. Until then, thank you. It's time.